General Hospital spoilers reveal that Drew's death has finally been confirmed, sending shockwaves throughout Port Charles. What was once speculation and ominous warnings has now become a chilling reality. Drew has met a violent and tragic end. But the circumstances surrounding his murder are far from clear, and as more details emerge, it becomes evident that this is just the beginning of a much larger and more dangerous storyline. His death isn't just another casualty in the endless power struggles of Port Charles, it's the catalyst for a full-blown investigation that threatens to expose secrets, dismantle alliances, and send more people to their downfall. This is no simple murder case, it is a carefully orchestrated act, one that suggests there is far more at play than just revenge or personal vendettas. Anna and Jason, both no strangers to uncovering the truth in the face of corruption and crime, quickly take charge of the investigation. As they begin to unravel the details of Drew's final moments, a pattern emerges, one that links him to a web of criminal dealings, betrayals, and long-buried secrets that someone was desperate to keep hidden. Each clue they uncover only adds to the growing suspicion that Drew's death was no random act of violence, but a carefully calculated execution. The suspects are many. Drew made enemies at every turn in his final months. His manipulative schemes, political aspirations, and blackmail attempts left a long list of people who wanted him gone. Portia's cryptic words, "Unless Drew dies," now seem more foreboding than ever. Ava, who had been entangled in his blackmail schemes, finds herself pulled deeper into the chaos. Carly, once his ally, must now question how much she really knew about his activities before his death. And then there's Nina, whose complicated history with Drew could take on new meaning in the wake of his murder. But as Anna and Jason push forward, they realize that this case is far from straightforward. The deeper they dig, the more sinister the truth becomes. There are indications that Drew may not have been working alone, that he was involved in something much bigger, something that could implicate people far beyond Port Charles. And whoever was responsible for his death didn't just want him gone, they wanted to erase everything he knew. As the investigation intensifies, the pressure mounts. People are starting to panic, knowing that Anna and Jason won't stop until they get to the truth. Lies are beginning to unravel, hidden agendas are being exposed, and soon, arrests are inevitable. Someone in Port Charles is guilty, and it's only a matter of time before the truth comes to light. Drew's death is no longer just a crime, it's an obsession, a puzzle that will send ripple effects through every corner of the city. With each passing day, Anna and Jason get closer to the shocking answer: who killed Drew Quartermain? And more importantly, why? The fallout will be brutal. Friendships will shatter, alliances will be tested, and the guilty will face justice. But in Port Charles, nothing is ever as simple as it seems. Because sometimes, the truth is even more dangerous than the crime itself. Selena and Sidwell's connection to Drew is proving to be far more dangerous than anyone initially realized. Their alliance, once kept in the shadows, is now under a microscope, with Anna and Jason growing increasingly suspicious that Drew's murder wasn't just an isolated act of violence, it was a calculated move to bury a much larger crime. But as they dig deeper, it becomes clear that Drew wasn't the only target. His death was merely the beginning, a warning shot in a much larger war that is now unfolding in Port Charles. Anna and Jason have been working tirelessly to piece together the puzzle, but every clue they uncover only leads to more questions. Why did Sidwell need Drew eliminated? Was Drew planning to expose something before his untimely death? What exactly had he stumbled upon that made him such a threat? The deeper they go, the more dangerous the situation becomes. Sidwell isn't just a man with connections, he's a man willing to do whatever it takes to protect himself, and that includes eliminating anyone who stands in his way. Selena, ever the strategist, has been moving carefully through this storm, making sure her own tracks are covered. She has always been one to operate in the gray areas of morality, using power, intimidation, and loyalty as her greatest weapons. But even she cannot escape suspicion. Anna and Jason know she's involved, but how deeply? Is she just an accomplice, or was she actively part of the decision to have Drew taken out? The more they question, the more it becomes clear, Selena is not just reacting to Drew's death, she's benefiting from it. And then the most chilling realization of all sets in: Drew's murder wasn't the end of Sidwell's plan, it was only the beginning. One by one, people connected to Drew's dealings start disappearing. Some vanish without a trace. Others turn up dead under mysterious circumstances. The pattern is undeniable. Someone is tying up loose ends, making sure that whatever secrets Drew was close to revealing die with those who knew about them. Anna and Jason had hoped that solving Drew's murder would bring them closer to justice, but instead, they find themselves in the middle of a much larger crisis, one where they have no idea how high the body count will go before it's over. As fear spreads through Port Charles, people begin to look over their shoulders, wondering who will be next. The city has seen its fair share of power struggles and corruption, but this is different. This is a silent war, one where enemies are eliminated before they even realize they're in danger. Jason knows this kind of strategy well. It's the same ruthless logic that mob bosses and power brokers use when they need to make problems disappear. But Sidwell's tactics are even more unpredictable, and worse, he's not just covering up a crime. He's making sure that no one ever finds out what truly happened. Anna and Jason now have a terrifying task ahead of them. They're not just solving a murder anymore, they're racing against time to stop a massacre. They need to figure out who else is on the hit list, who else might be marked for death, and more importantly, why. But the deeper they push into Sidwell's operation, the more they risk becoming targets themselves. They're getting too close to the truth, and Sidwell isn't the kind of man to leave loose ends behind. As tensions escalate, the city holds its breath. Another death could happen at any moment. Port Charles is no stranger to violence, but this is something different. This is methodical, precise, and relentless. No one knows who the next victim will be, only that it's coming. Anna and Jason are running out of time. They need to expose Sidwell before more bodies drop. But the more they dig, the more they realize, they might not be able to stop what's already in motion. Because this isn't just about Drew anymore. This is about power. This is about control. And in the end, this is about who will survive. Portia is now emerging as a prime suspect in Drew's murder, sending shockwaves through Port Charles. What was once just a tangled mess of secrets and power struggles has now become an explosive murder investigation, and Portia's hidden past is coming back to haunt her in the worst possible way. It turns out that Drew had uncovered something about Portia, something that she never intended to come to light. Whether it was a personal secret, a medical cover-up, or something tied to the corruption that Drew had been dabbling in, one thing is clear: he had the leverage to ruin her. And now, with his murder, people are starting to ask the inevitable question: did Portia silence him before he could expose her? As Anna and Jason dig deeper into the investigation, their suspicions shift. While Sidwell remains a top suspect due to his ruthless agenda, there's something about Portia's actions that doesn't sit right with them. She had a motive. She had access. And more importantly, she had something to lose if Drew decided to go public with whatever he had on her. Portia, usually composed and methodical, is now struggling to keep herself together. She knows she's under scrutiny. She knows that Anna and Jason are circling her like sharks, looking for any crack in her story. And the worst part? The very thing she was trying to keep hidden is now dangerously close to being exposed, not just to the police, but to everyone in Port Charles. The more Anna and Jason push, the more the pressure mounts. Portia tries to play it cool, acting as though she has nothing to hide, but those closest to her are starting to sense that something is wrong. Curtis, already dealing with his own struggles, begins to question whether the woman he loves could have done something unthinkable. Trina, always perceptive, starts noticing the way her mother avoids questions, the way she flinches every time Drew's name is brought up. But the real chaos begins when evidence starts to surface, evidence that could either clear Portia or bury her completely. Was she really involved in Drew's murder? Or is she just another pawn in a much bigger game, being framed to divert attention from the real killer? Meanwhile, Anna and Jason are caught in a dangerous balancing act. They know that if they make the wrong move, they could not only jeopardize the case but also put themselves in harm's way. Sidwell is still out there, and if Portia is just a piece of the puzzle rather than the mastermind, then the real threat is still lurking in the shadows, ready to strike again. One thing is certain, Drew's murder wasn't a random act of violence. It was a carefully calculated move, and now, the consequences are spiraling out of control. More secrets will be exposed. More lives will be destroyed. And if Anna and Jason don't find the truth soon, Port Charles may see another body drop before the case is even close to being solved. Portia's fate is hanging by a thread, and with every passing day, the walls are closing in. Is she truly guilty? Or is she just another victim in a city where the truth is often more dangerous than the crime itself? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure, this investigation is far from over. The revelation that Ava was the one who killed Drew is sending shockwaves through Port Charles. What was once a tangled web of secrets and suspicions has now unraveled into an outright scandal, and the consequences are far greater than anyone could have anticipated. Ava, known for walking the fine line between self-preservation and destruction, may have just crossed a line that she can never come back from. At first, Drew's murder seemed like the work of someone tied to the underworld, Sidwell, Selena, or another ruthless player with something to hide. But now, as the truth comes to light, the real motive is far more personal. Ava didn't kill Drew for power or money. She did it for Portia and Trina. And in doing so, she may have just sealed her own fate. Ava has always been a survivor, someone who does whatever it takes to protect those she cares about. But this time, her actions have placed her in a dangerous position. She believed that eliminating Drew would be the final solution to the chaos surrounding Portia's blackmail, ensuring that Trina would never be caught in the fallout of whatever secrets Drew had uncovered. But murder is never a clean solution, and now, the fallout is far worse than she ever imagined. The pressure is mounting. Jason and Anna, deep into their investigation, are starting to see the cracks in Ava's carefully maintained story. She's good at keeping secrets, but the weight of this crime is beginning to break through her composure. The closer they get, the more desperate she becomes to cover her tracks. But the problem is, Ava may not be the only one who knows the truth. Portia, though unaware at first, begins to suspect that Ava did something drastic to protect her. The tension between them grows unbearable as Portia starts questioning how far Ava really went to handle the situation. Did Ava really think she could commit murder without consequences? Did she believe that taking a life would be the solution rather than the beginning of another disaster? Meanwhile, Trina, the person Ava was trying to protect the most, unknowingly finds herself at the heart of the fallout. If the truth comes out, if Ava's crime is exposed, Trina will be left with a devastating realization that someone she trusted, someone who cared for her like family, is a murderer. And worse, she did it in her name. The weight of the crime is now suffocating Ava, and for the first time, she is unsure whether she can get out of this one. She has survived so much, betrayal, heartbreak, near-death experiences, but this is different. This is a murder investigation with Jason and Anna hunting for answers, and once the truth comes out, there will be no escape. The question now is, will Ava confess before she's caught? Will she try to run, knowing that there's no way out? Or will someone else take the fall for her crime, whether willingly or by force? The walls are closing in, and in a city where justice is never black and white, Ava may soon find herself facing the one thing she has always feared the most, being completely and utterly powerless. Port Charles is about to witness one of the most shocking revelations in years. The murder of Drew was meant to solve a problem, but instead, it has unleashed a storm that could destroy everything in its path. And for Ava, the real nightmare is only just beginning. Jason is about to step into one of the biggest battles of his life, and this time, the enemy isn't an outsider, it's someone he once considered an ally. Ava's dark secret is out, and her decision to kill Drew has set off a chain reaction that no one can stop. What was once a calculated move to protect Portia and Trina has now escalated into an all-out war, with Jason leading the charge against Ava. But this fight isn't just about justice, it's about power, survival, and the shifting alliances that could tear Port Charles apart. Jason has always been a man of action, someone who operates in absolutes. If Ava is guilty, there's no question, she has to pay for what she's done. But Ava isn't going down without a fight. She's just as ruthless, just as cunning, and just as willing to play dirty to protect herself. She knows that Jason won't rest until he takes her down, but she also knows that if she can manipulate the situation just right, she might be able to turn the tables on him before it's too late. The tension between them is electric, a battle of wills that neither of them is willing to lose. But as Jason tightens his grip on the situation, Ava does what she does best. She calls in reinforcements. And that's where things get even more dangerous. Sonny, ever the power player, is drawn into the conflict the moment he realizes that Ava's secret is about to be exposed. He has spent years keeping Ava in check, making sure she never crosses the line too far. But now, she's in deep, and if Jason takes her down, there's no telling how much collateral damage will come with it. Sonny knows that if he doesn't act fast, this war will spiral out of control, and the fallout could destroy everything he's built. But the real wild card? Rick Lansing. Rick has always thrived in chaos, always looking for the perfect moment to shift the balance of power in his favor. And now, with Jason and Ava locked in a deadly battle, Rick sees an opportunity. He's been waiting for a moment like this. One where he can manipulate the players, stir the pot, and come out on top. If Jason is distracted by his war with Ava, and Sonny is forced to intervene, Rick could make his move and finally seize control in a way that no one expects. The lines are drawn, and Port Charles is on the brink of a war unlike anything before. Jason versus Ava is just the beginning. As more players get involved, the battle will spread, pulling in alliances, enemies, and ghosts from the past. Ava, desperate to hold on to her freedom, will do whatever it takes to turn the odds in her favor. Jason, fueled by justice and vengeance, will stop at nothing to bring her down. Sonny, caught between loyalty and control, will have to decide where he stands before everything collapses. And Rick, always lurking in the shadows, will be ready to strike when the time is right. Port Charles is about to explode, and when the dust settles, nothing will ever be the same. The only question is, who will survive the fallout?